Okay, now we're live.
I just wonder, it's not that I represent any kind of disagreements in any way.
You're heard. Okay. Ready, guys? So the halakha for today, this coming week, B'ezrat Hashem, we have 3 sifre Torah. 3. Now we know that whenever we have 2 sifre Torah, the second sifre Torah always gets a kaddish. Let's say, for example, if we have Shabbat or Chodesh, we have 7 olim on the first sifre Torah, you have a kaddish. And then we have another olim for the maftir of Rosh Chodesh, also gets a kaddish. Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, 2 guys get to say kaddish. Yeah. It's always good for the bidding, right? You can sell kaddish twice and everyone's happy. Yeah. The question is, if you have 3 sifre Torah, does that mean you get 3 kaddish? That's the question. So you say 2, Uncle Jack. What's your final answer? You'll find out. You're still deciding. Akiva? 2. We are in book 1 of Yehave daat. Book 1 is basically all holiday stuff. Book 1, Yehave daat, we are in number 76. It's a very short halakha. Mamash, very short. The question is like longer than the answer. She'elah. Rosh Chodesh Tevet, which is this coming Saturday, B'ezrat Hashem. Shehal b'Shabbat, which is on Saturday. Shemotziim shosha sefarim, we take out 3 sifrei Torah. V'koreim barishon b'parashat hashavua shisha olim. So we have to read this week 6 aliyot for Parashat Miketz. 6.
Which is a long portion.
Which is a long parasha, which means that I'm going to go from 6 all the way till the end. From Aliyat Shishi, not stopping by Shavi'i, going 6 all the way to the end of the parasha. Why? Because we have to save 1 aliyah for those Chodesh reading. The mashlim, quote unquote, mashlim, the person who's the finisher, koreh b'sefer sheni parashat Rosh Chodesh, right? Because tadid, v'she'enu tadid kodem. Why does Rosh Chodesh go first? Because Rosh Chodesh is 12 times a year, and Hanukkah is only 8 times a year. So we give preference always in Judaism to the more frequent, unlike the rest of the world, which respects the less frequent. And so Rosh Chodesh goes second, which would be Mashlim, Aliyah number 7. And then Maftir, Aliyah number 8. The Maftir Koreh b'Sefer HaShlishi v'Shel Hanukkah. And the third one reads the third Sefer of Hanukkah. And so the first Sefer, if I want to do just the bare bones minimum this coming Saturday, as the reader, I'm going to do 6 aliyot for the first Sefer Torah. How many aliyot do you have to do on Shabbat? 7. And so I'm going to do less than the required amount by the time I finish the first Sefer. When I finish the first Sefer, I have not yet fulfilled my requirement. That's the very important piece. והמנהג שאין אומרים קדיש אלא לאחר הספר שני או לאחר הספר שלישי. And so he's already telling you the answer. The minhag is that we only say kaddish after sefer number 2 and sefer number 3. איך הדין כשיש שמחה בבית הכנסת? However, what would be the halakha? So you got what he's saying? He's saying, since you don't, he's going on a premise that you already know the law, which everyone here knows. Since we didn't fulfill the obligation of 7, you can't say kaddish till the job's over. And so if I did 6 on the first one, I don't get kaddish yet. However, the question here, the person writing the question is saying, I have a simcha in the bekinet, I have an occasion, which means I want to send up a lot of aliyot, extras. Kegon hatan, abiyaben, bar mitzvah. Vekorim olim nosefim besefer harishon. We're going to add a lot of more as rekirs, as we call it in Halami. Mosifim. So now my first sefer, which was 6, is now 7, 8, 9, 10, because I added extra people. So I got
you will see. You didn't complete a slate. You didn't do your job.
Since we fulfilled the obligation, really, we sent up 7 guys. And then we'll come out with 3 kaddishes for 3 people. Kadisha had kol sefer sefer, or the other option is leolam en lomad yoter mishna kadishim, or only do 2 kadishes on the second sefer and the third sefer. Okay, Moshe is going strong and allow 2 kadishes. Has to be. We need Yeshua, the guy of the Misadet. He has to hear this halakha. That's the. So make sure you pass it over to him. Teshuvah. The answer is, all right, ladies, just walked in. So the question is, if this week Shabbat Rosh Chodesh Hanukkah. This week, Shabbat, not yesterday, next week, Saturday, Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh Hanukkah, 3 sifrei Torah. How many times do we say kaddish? Does each guy that finishes the Torah get a kaddish? That's the question.
Yes. Why? Why we have to say?
Oh, why not? She said, wow.
Oh.
It's a packed day. Tosafot, Teshuvah. Maran Bet Yosef Katab Rosh Chodesh Tebet Shehadar Shabbat. He writes this, Maran Bet Yosef. He writes, on Rosh Chodesh Tebet, which is always in the middle of Hanukkah, which is Shabbat, Minhagenu Bnei Sefarad, She'en Omrim Kaddish Ahar Kriyat Sefer Harishon. You don't say the Kaddish, says the Bet Yosef, after the first Sefer. Because it's only 6 Olim. Only 6 guys go up. Since you didn't have 7 people on the first Torah, you don't get the kaddish. You can't say a kaddish until you fulfill the obligation of 7. This we already knew. The question is, what if we add more people? But Joseph doesn't talk about that part. Okay. And Bet Yosef finishes in the interesting halacha, and he says, Shibiyom Shemini Aseret. Shemini Aseret, which is what? Simchat Torah.
We have all we don't have that.
We don't have a kaddish. Moshe's already there. On Shemini Aseret, which is Simchat Torah, the whole shul goes up to the Torah. We have 3 sifre Torah on Shemini Aseret, Simchat Torah. We have 3 sifre Torah, and on the first one, we do have lots of aliyot. Right? Ula She'er Amad, Ula She'er Amad, Ula She'er Amad, 100 times Ula She'er Amad. And we don't do kaddish after that Sefer Torah. We go straight into Bereshit. Right? We have the 3 Hatanim. The first Hatan goes up. He finishes. The second Hatan Me'ona, he finishes. We go straight into Bereshit. We don't say kaddish on Simchat Torah after the first Torah. So if you want a proof, that's a great proof. I don't care how many guys you send up to the first Torah. You don't get the kaddish.
Although there could be somebody who will argue and say, well, here you have a different story. You don't want to be doing Efsek between the Marim.
So you're switching teams? Are you switching teams to the other side? You want to?
No, I'm still holding because I don't think you finished the slate. But I think the Tiun of Shmini Atzeret could draw other objections.
Smart guy. Let's see what the Bet Yosef says. So Maran Bet Yosef says, Shiviyom Shemini Atzeret Shemotziim Shosha Sefarim. Even if you called up more than 7 on the first one, we don't say kaddish after the first one. Why? He brings 2 reasons, Bet Yosef. First reason, we don't want to make a differentiation. There's like something called the halakha. The Gemara uses the words lo plug. Plug is plugta as a machloket. We don't like to make varied halachot in Judaism. We like to make things uniform and easy. And since in a general week, if you have 3 Sefer Torah and you sent up 6 guys in the first Torah, you don't get kaddish on that one. So even though in Shemini Atzeret, when you sent up 100 guys, you might be able to do the kaddish. People are going to come home confused and say, whenever you have 3 Torahs, you have 3 kaddishes. People are going to be confused. And so, and we don't want to be the halek. We say we never make a kaddish on the first Torah. This is the first reason of the Bet Yosef, even if there's more than 6 olim. And he brings the second reason, Be'od. Shehoyel be'atam shekorim b'shemini aseret pasha pereshit kedesh shelo letet pithon pele satan lomat shechabat simu et haTorah ve'enam hafisim yoter lamshich lekor haTorah v'lachen en le'afsik min haSefer haTorah harishon l'shnikalat ad kan. The second reason is that what is the reason why we even read Bereshit on Simchat Torah? Why do we read Bereshit on Simchat Torah? Just finish the Torah. Read Bereshit next Shabbat. Why do we do it? Because we don't want the Satan to come and say, hey, see the Jewish people? They finish the Torah, now they sit on their backside and they relax. They have no interest in starting the Torah cycle all over again. And so to tell the Satan, you're wrong. We always keep learning. We always start again. That's why we go, bam, right into Bereshit. We don't even have a kaddish. We don't have nothing. We don't have no hefsek, right? Whenever we finish the Torah and Simchat Torah, we go, shh, don't even talk. Straight into Bereshit. We always continue the new cycle. We go straight into Genesis. The second Devarim is over.
We just said the Simanat.
The Simanat Tava, someone says, and we roll right into it. According to the second reason, this reason of the Bet Yosef, you really should have a kaddish.
Or you can draw. At the very least, you can say that's my reason.
You can draw from there that you should have a kaddish, but we were worried about the Satan, good old Satan. We don't want Satan talking about us. If we stop and say kaddish, he says, look at the guys. They think they're finished the Torah. They're finished. But if not for the Satan, we would have a kaddish. So the two answers are pretty different. So let's see. And so he says as follows. V'ineh. Hacham Ovadia says, now let's use our brains, he says. The tirut harishon shel Maran she'en lehalek be'amim shemotziim behem shelosha sefarim. According to the first answer, that the reason we don't say kaddish on Simchat Torah, it says we have no vary in the halek. It always should be consistent. Shegam kishalu sheba'alim yoter b'sefer harishon en lo kaddish. In the halek. We always have the same halakha. We don't, even though Shmini Atzeret, you should have a kaddish because you sent up more people. No, we don't want to have different rules. We never say kaddish after the first Torah. So too this week on Shabbat. If Yeshua sends up 5 people Mosifim, we should have a kaddish in the halek. No, we don't want people to come home confused. And then next year, when we don't send up Mosifim, they're going to make a kaddish after 6 guys. And so, if according to the first reason of Maran Bet Yosef, in the halek. And so you should tell the people, I don't care how many people go up this week. We don't have a kaddish to the first Torah. Yeah? But according to the second reason, that we're only not doing kaddish because of the Satan. If not for the Satan, we would do a kaddish. There's no Satan this week on Hanukkah. We're not afraid of this on Hanukkah. The Satan saying, oh, look at these guys. No, it's Hanukkah. And so therefore, we should say kaddish this week if we have more than 6 guys on the first Torah. If he decides downstairs, if Yeshua, if you can hear me, decides to put another person up, making it 7, we should have a kaddish. According to the second reason of Maran Bet Yosef, נראה שרק בשמיני עצרת שמסיימים את התורה וצריכים להתחיל בפנייה בפרשה בראשית למנוע קטרוג השטן. Only שמיני עצרת we care about the שטן. לכן אין להפסיק בין הספר הראשון לשני באמר קדיש. but בראש חודש טבת שחל בשבת כל שעלו ספר ראשון 7 עולים ויותר שחב"ד נשלמה חובת היום צריכים לומר קדיש. Just what I said. And so which reason of Maran Bet Yosef is the right reason to have a big difference for us? He says as follows.
The reason it's confusion.
And right? According to the confusion reason, there's no confusion this week. So let's see. ובאמת שבשו"ת התשב"ץ כתב, the Tashbats is a rabbi, he writes, שאף בשמיני עצרת, he says, even on שמיני עצרת, even on שמחת תורה, כיוון שעלו יותר מחובת היום בספר הראשון, צריך לומר קדיש. He argues on Maran Bet Yosef. He says, I don't understand your reason for no kaddish on Simchat Torah. We're sending up 9 guys to the first Aliyah, 90 guys to the first Aliyah. That's enough for kaddish. Stop worrying about the Satan. That's what he says to Maran Bet Yosef. Stop worrying about him. Why? Ve'en bazeh makom lefitron peshel Satan. Don't worry about the Satan. Why? Bifrat lemenhagenu she'anu motziim kol sheloshet hasefarim b'vat ahad. We take out all 3 sefarim from the beginning. Sefer Bereshit is right there on the Teva. It's not like we're taking them out one at a time. And the Satan's going to say, oh, look, Hashem, they're finished. No, look at, do you not see 3 sefarim? We're going to read this one in 1 second. It's sitting right there. We're showing the whole crowd that we have 3 things to do today. After we finish this, we're going to do Bereshit. It's sitting right there. And so that's the answer for the Satan. Don't worry about him. This is what Tashbat says. And therefore, in Simchat Torah, if you have more than 6 olim for the first one, say the Kaddish. It's okay. Interesting. Because he says, like in Hebrew, it's right there to read. In the Sefer Bet Yehuda, and he says, Shechen Minhag Algeria. In Algeria, they make a kaddish on Simchat Torah if they sent up more than 6 for the first Sefer. If so, Mikol Sheken, Shebirosh Chodesh Tebet, Shehal B'Shabbat, Tzarich Lomar Kaddish. Gam le'ahad Kriyat Sefer Rishon, Kol She'alu Bo Sheva Olim Yoter. According to this, it even makes more sense to say Kaddish. Because number one, maybe the second reason of the Bet Yosef is the main reason. It's all about the Satan. And the Tashbats even argues with him on Simchat Torah about the Satan. So you should just do the Kaddish according to this.
If you accept that.
Ve'af b'mkomenu, even in our place, on Simchat Torah, we hold like the Bet Yosef. We are afraid of the Satan. Ve'af b'mkomenu, she'anu nohagim k'divrei Maran, shelo lomar Kaddish b'shmini azeret ahar sefer rishon, even though we do what he says, and we don't say the kaddish on Simchat Torah, dai lanu linhog kem b'shmini atzeret. It's enough to just do this only on Shmini Atzeret, to say there's no kaddish on Shmini Atzeret no matter what, because it's Satan and all this. Don't start bringing this to the rest of the year. Sheyesh tam nehashesh kitruga Satan. We're afraid of Satan on Shmini Atzeret. Mashiach came to Chodesh Tebet Shehab Shabbat this week, like I said, Hanukkah. As long as you sent up 7 guys to the first one, yesh lema kaddish. You should say the kaddish after the first one. V'chen did b'shut kol Eliyahu agrees with him with this pshat that you should say the kaddish this week. The kol Eliyahu. V'chen pasak hagaon Rabbi Sadka Hussein in the Sefer Tzedakah Mishpat, and also he says v'her'id, he testifies shechen haya minhag Baghdad b'yamav. In Iraq, in Baghdad, they did this. If they sent up on Shabbat Hanukkah more than 6 guys in the first Torah, they said the kaddish 3 times. Gam Hagaon Rabbi Mordechai Karmi b'Sefer Ma'amar Mordechai agrees Ke'ela shelafim min hagenu shenogim lekot sheva olim v'yoter b'Sefer Rishon af ladat manan b'T Yosef tzarich lomar kaddish achar kol sefer mishloshat sefarim. He says even Manan b'T Yosef would agree that you should say 3 kaddish this week. V'shechen haminhag be'asot ha'ma'arav, so is the custom in the western lands. V'Hagaon Rabbi Shlomo Laniado Halabi. Rabbi Shlomo Laniado, the Syrian rabbi, he writes in the Sefer Bet Dinot Sheshlomo, he brings Mashi Ele Harab Hagaon Rabbi Mordechai Galanti. What does Rabbi Mordechai Galanti say? Shele'olam en lomar kaddish achar sefer rishon mishloshet sefarim, that you should never say kaddish after the first sefer. That's what Rabbi Galanti says, and Rabbi Laniado argues. V'halak alav, Rabbi Laniado argues on him. Ve'ela shechol she'alu shema olim berishon tzarich lomar kaddish gam achar sefer Torah rishon. So we have Algeria says you say kaddish after the first. Laniado from Halab, Syria, says you say it, and then we have another one, right? And also another one here. Vechem Pasak is another Syrian here. Hagaon Rabbi Abraham Antebi. Antebi is a Syrian name. In his Sefer Chochmah U'Musar, I believe he's Syrian. Maybe. It's definitely a Syrian name, but I'm not sure what he was. The Apapi Shaharab Hagaon Rabbi Yosef ben Valid. Besefer Shimon Yosef Katav Shemin Hagam Be'ir Vaharan. Is that, where is it?
Ben Hagam Be'ir
Vaharan. Vav Heresh Aleph Nun. Vaharan. Vaharan. I don't know where that it sounds Persian to me. I don't know what Vaharan is. He writes, in the town of Vaharan, they hold Shele'olam en olim kaddish, that they don't say the kaddish after the first Torah, and so agrees the Kiryat Hana. But they forgot about all the great people before who say that you should say the kaddish before. Al kol panim, says the Chamadia, bottom line, lo ya'aseh chen v'mkomenu. Where did he take this from? Where is this word from? Lo ya'aseh chen v'mkomenu. It's taken from a parasha a couple weeks ago. Not Lot? Lavan. We shouldn't do this in our places. As Lavan told Yaakov, in our place we marry the older girl first. I love when they take words from the Torah and they don't tell you they're doing it. You just have to, yeah, exactly. They don't tell you. You have to just know that it's taken from the Torah. When you live the Torah, you just write like that in Pesukim. The bottom line is like most of the Hanonim that we quoted before. As long as you sent up 7, yesh lomar kaddish. You got 3 kaddishes, bottom line. The same halakha applies to Rosh Chodesh Adar Shehab Shabbat. Fast forward a couple of months to Adar.
So he said,
like the person who said you shouldn't do it. You should. And the halakha applies also to Adar. In Rosh Chodesh Adar, when we have the 4 parashiyot, Shekalim and Zachor and Parat, all these. So we also have a Rosh Chodesh that time. Rosh Chodesh Adar Shehab Shabbat. If Rosh Chodesh Adar comes out on Shabbat, we read Shekalim that day also. Also 3 Sefarim. Shemotziim Gimel Sefarim, which is Parashat HaShavua, Rosh Chodesh and Shekalim. Rosh Chodesh Nisan Shehab Shabbat. Another time it can happen is before Pesach. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, Shabbat, and Parashat HaChodesh. And Shechol she'alu shiv'a olim berishon tzarich lomar kaddish achar kol sefer v'sefer mishloshet sefarim. As long as you send up 7 guys to the first Torah, you get kaddish, and therefore, I think personally, I'm not in charge, but I think it's a very nice thing to do to intentionally send up a 7th guy to the first Torah, because there are all people here that love to say kaddish for their loved ones, and now you have 3 opportunities. There should be no bidding wars. But I think you should announce it to the crowd. In my humble opinion, this is my opinion. I'm not. This is just me speaking. I think you should announce it to the crowd. We are going to send an extra person up to the first sifre, thus requiring another kaddish, and therefore one of the mosifim is going to be valuable because the last mosif will have a kaddish. Make sense? And therefore you have 3 kaddishes this week if you do the right way. If you decide to be stingy and only do the minimum, 6 olim. Either it could be the last guy.
You can have 1 mosif. Because you have 6 plus 1 mosif, and then you got.
But if you want to do the letter of the law and only have 6 olim for Shabbat, you don't say the kaddish on the first Torah. That's it. I told you it was short.